All right, folks, no cap space is back. The road show continues. I am in a different lodge in the middle of Lake Tahoe somewhere. Shawnee Powell is over on the East Coast, but joining us out of Southern California is the legend herself, Rhonda Windham. Rhonda, thank you so much for joining us. Good to have
Joom, joom, joom.
you.
Great sound effects. I would have even brought my own intro music if I would have known.
We gave you DJ Clues, bombs, and everything.
Exactly.
Listen, J-Lo just came out with new music, and I'm all about it because she is Jenny from the Bronx, and I'm Rhonda
Okay.
from the Bronx. So
Yeah.
Yes.
I was gonna say, what's the walkout song? Okay, but we gotta go J-Lo. I got
Yeah.
you.
Yes.
So I will say I kind of want to start there because as a New York guy living in California, I feel like we're kin a little bit in that respect. How on earth does somebody from the Bronx end up in Southern California playing basketball for the women of Troy?
Well, when they brought me out here on my recruiting trip and tried to apologize for the area that USC was in, I'm thinking, are these folks crazy? There's palm trees everywhere. There's houses with grass everywhere. Sign me up for this. And for me, when I was being recruited, I'm a stone cold city kid. Even though I spent my summers in Delaware, Milford, Delaware, but I knew I did not want to go down south to go to college, and I needed a city atmosphere. And I think when kids go to school, I think they don't put enough, invest enough time exploring the areas that they're going to school in, because the social engagement is just as big a part of college as the academics. So when USC started recruiting and I had the opportunity to come out here, and at that time, many moons ago, when you went on your recruiting trip, you could play with the team. And
Really?
yes, and the McGee twins were there, and Cynthia Cooper was playing. Also, Juliet Robinson and Yolanda Fletcher. I remember them at the practice, and we got the ball and started going. And I said, "Okay, I had 2'6'3" sisters on both sides, and then this other chick is talking a lot of noise, going to the hole. I know we can do some things." So the twins cornered me in the locker room after practice and said, "Hey, we think we can do some things. We're going after this other player, Cheryl Miller. Are you coming?" And they needed a point guard. I needed a team, and it was a match made in heaven.
And so was there a moment where you were like, you got your highlights off and everybody was kind of like, we could use her?
Yes, they said, "Let's go." They said, "We need a point. You can go, and let's make it happen." So I was happy. Let's go.
So at the time, was that a situation where the brand of who they were was well known? So like you step on the floor and you're like, oh, this is USC women's basketball. Was there like an aura around them at that moment? Did you guys know what this team was?
This was early 80s. And so, there wasn't as much coverage, on the teams, but I knew the twins were on Jet magazine, so I knew about that. And so I hadn't seen them play, but fortunately I had the opportunity to play with them. So I was able to see up close and personal what I was dealing with. And if I figured if I had them and Coop and Juliet Robinson, Fletcher, also Tracy Longo, and I had never seen Cheryl play at that point, but they talked about her. I figured we had something going.
So you went on to set an assist record, passing to you had a plethora of people to pass to.
Hey, I set it up, and they finished it.
So, and then y'all went on to have a dynasty. Like what is it like to be, one of those foundational pieces looking back at what y'all built?
At the time, I have to say the twins had a lot of foresight and really understood the magnitude of what we were doing. for women's basketball. And you know, there were a lot of times it was a lot because we were here in Los Angeles, in Hollywood. There was a lot of Hollywood antics to what we did, whether it was on or off the court, and it just added. But it only worked because we were winning. If we weren't winning,
it looks kind of silly.
It would be foolish. But we were winning, and you know, the Twins really understood at the time the type of mark we were going to be able to make. And you know, I feel proud. I feel very proud to be part of, you know, the beginnings. You know, not the super beginnings, but the beginnings of something, you know, really special at USC.
It feels like at that time there was a lot of personalities in that room, a lot of heavy competitors in that room.
You think?
I wanted to just straight up say, you know, was Cheryl really about that action the way everyone talks about? But like, you were also similarly about that action too. Like, what was the dynamic like from a competitive standpoint, day to day and practice to practice like that?
Practice was rough. You really had to come to with your game. And besides the fact we had to listen to Cynthia Cooper commentate the entire practice, her telling you what she's going to do to you the entire practice, and coming off every screen telling me magic ball, because Cynthia always called me Magic. When I hear her say, when the few times she does say my actual, as you said, government name, my first name, it sounds so odd to hear her say it. But she always just calls, still to this day, she calls me Magic. So she would constantly come off strings, magic ball. Cynthia, I'm gonna give you the damn ball when I'm gonna give it to you. So these were the friendly conversations we would have throughout practices and games.
You must have been hitting magic ball in your sleep.
Right. But just like around the conference at that time, was there anybody like matching that type of energy, or was it like, you know, we can go through practice, we can battle anybody?
I mean, that was our mindset for practice. You know, we really wanted to challenge each other in practice, and you know, it wasn't just the starters or the first 7 players. You know, we were 12. Even at that time, we had some walk-ons, Leanne Sarah and Melissa Ward, who, you know, they were just as vital in practice as anyone else. And so, you know, we knew if we challenged each other in practice every day, that when it came time for the games, we were going to be able to have fun, which we were able to do.
So you guys kind of have this start of what we know is the Women of Troy kind of brand of basketball, and then we go into the 90s and we start seeing Lisa Leslie pick up the slack on that end too. Did you have an idea around that time that, you know, there is something here and something more that is special about this program or unique about this program, that when you have the right people in it and the right environment, it becomes something very different than a normal women's basketball program?
You know, and I would say that Lisa's crew, her team, in a way, I don't even know how to say, they got gypped because their coach, they had Marianne Stanley, and they had been building, and we were getting some momentum. And then Coach Stanley and USC, you know, got into a whole legal battle. And, you know, Lisa didn't have her senior year. You know, Cheryl came in. She's a new young coach. You know, it was a tough situation. Everyone was trying to do their best at the time. So, you know, when there's change, you know, change is tough sometimes. And we didn't have the continuity of having like the same coach over time. So then there becomes some disconnect, you know, and, you know, over the years we've had kind of a disconnect between the different eras.
Okay. And then, you know, just kind of fast forwarding to today, you know, obviously you got your gear on, you know, it's game time, and you have a young lady named Juju that is, you might have heard about her.
Oh, the kid?
Yeah.
Yes, the kid.
What have you seen from her that really makes her special and kind of able to, connect the generations and like pick up that torch that you guys, set years ago?
Yes. This kid is phenomenal. You can tell she has worked on her game. She's put in the work. She comes from great stock, from her grandfather, her mom, her parents. She comes from great stock. And so she has that. She wants to win. She's throwing her body on the floor. She's running into people. It doesn't matter. She's trying to win. And when you have that determination, I liken it a little bit. I was talking to Charlotte at one of the games, and I was saying, she reminds me of both Cynthia Cooper and Kobe. And with Kobe, it's that it's like a fire. It's like a fire. Like she's mad if she misses. And it's not that she's trying to hog the ball or anything like that. It's just like pure trying to win, just pure competition. And she's really connected with her teammates. And it's a true team effort. She gets a lot of the shine, but it is a true team effort, and her teammates love her. So that's a true tell of a great player, when your players enjoy playing with you. And she's gotten us all excited. She's gotten us all excited. When the team got together, I started calling my teammates like, guys, we need to be there. We have to get season tickets. We got to get season tickets. So we were able to do that, and we've been courtside. It's been so much fun for us.
Did you get to see that Stanford game when she dropped 50?
Oh, well, I didn't know. That was up at Stafford, right?
Yeah.
Yes. No, I didn't get to see that game. No.
So to that point though, of y'all being courtside, I mean, what's the bridging of the eras been like from Lindsay Gottlieb's perspective? I mean, has there been this sort of, we want you involved in this, we have this team, we have this kid that gives all the hallmarks of special, and you who built this program, we want you to be around for it and there to see it and to kind of bridge all of those gaps from the 80s to now? Did you guys kind of get that feeling like we're all welcome back here, we all want to be here, and we all want to like build this program up to what it's always kind of been historically?
She's had open arms. She's had open arms since she's been here. It's been nothing but love and respect from Coach Gottlieb, really. And I think that makes a world of difference. Any athlete, once you finish playing, you have this separation, from your program, and you miss it. And then you don't want to impose yourself. You want to be welcomed. And that's what she's done since day one. And it's just, each year it's just been more effort to develop the bond. And we come to practice. We can come hang out at practice anytime. We've started creating these mentorships with players. It's been a true love fest, and we have a lot of gratitude to today's player, to this team, because they've also been with open arms. And it's not about us. I told them, I went to practice early in the season, and to introduce myself basically to the team. And I told them, you have a whole crew of aunts behind you. We are your aunties. We got you. We love you. And we are here to support you. We are going to be there to cheer you on, support you, whatever you need. We are here. And that's what it's about. And that's what's been so much fun, because they've just given us so much joy.
So with that support, because up the street, down the street, I'm a little fuzzy on the geography, but UCLA is also, on the come up.
There you go. We were having a good time. It's Friday,
I'm gonna let you get your bars off though. And
that's who we play. That's who we play today. So
Exactly. So they've been kind of doing their thing. Their program is also up and coming. So that means the rivalry is back, and people are kind of tuning in. What does that rivalry mean to you? And go ahead, talk some trash on your rival. The floor is open.
I give a lot of respect to the Bruins. The program they've built over the years. They've been holding.
Frozen for you.
Rhonda, you might have frozen there. I hope her computer didn't die or something.
There we go. Are we back?
Okay.
Yep, we're back. Yeah, you can just start. You can just start from the beginning there.
Yes, I was saying. So a lot of respect to the Bruins. They've done well for themselves. They've been holding it down. I started choking. Hold on. All right. I'm gonna get it out. Let me get it out.
No, that's enough positivity. You get one up.
They have some. No, they have no. They have some great players, and coming from the East Coast, I didn't know about this USC UCLA rivalry until I went to the first football game, and then I got it. So then, over the years you play and you battle, and I have some great friends that are former players. Niecy Thompson, who nobody talks about, who used to be a beast on the boards for UCLA. She's a good friend of mine. So, I'll be sending her a text a little later. Noel Quinn, who he played. I used to have a summer league, the Say No Classic, which, from what I hear, there's a push for it to come back. She lives down the street from me, so we always have some little friendly chatter amongst ourselves. But this rivalry is real, and UCLA did a fantastic job for their game this year. In Bruinville, they did beat us, but then when they came across the street, down the street,
happened? Talk to him.
Spanks going. We had 50 alum come back. 50 alumni from our basketball program. First time that's ever happened. We all came back. It was a beautiful thing. We had and Raya was sick that game. She didn't play. And Clarice really stepped up. So, again, it's a full-on effort from everyone to keep this thing going.
Now, is Noel Quinn a trash talker? Because
that was
quiet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what they think. She is a head coach.
She got the politics right as a head coach nowadays.
Her studious glasses on and all that. Yeah.
So to the point, I talked to Rhea, and she was talking about how in Galen this year, what's been crazy is the amount of celebrities that they've had courtside. They've had Will Ferrell, they've had Chris Brown. She name dropped Cheryl, and all of these people that in past years, it's been building to that. I'm curious, back in your days, did you have any celebrities that rolled up courtside for women in Troy? Who did you have? I'm really curious about what that vibe, because that was like LA Golden era.
Yes, we did have a lot of celebrities come to games. I remember when Magic came to the game, and he was calling me. He's like 21, and Magic was my favorite. And I kind of ignored him at first, but then he's like, I like the way you pat that ball. Man, that meant the world to me. That meant everything to me. It was all kind of people coming to our games. I think Penny Marshall probably came to our games. Let's see, Chevy Chase. I remember because we would always have a celebrity game too at the beginning of the year. We had a slew of people, so it was fun.
Is that what makes LA unique in your estimation? Like if you get the right group of people in there, it can become a cultural thing that kind of transcends and breaks containment a little bit, the way it feels like even Lisa did, especially as she got into the W.
Yes. So, you can create an environment where it's the place you want to be and be seen.
Mm.
And so that's what's developing at USC right now. And it's been a lot of fun. And so that I think it was that UCLA game that Chris Brown was there and Sweetie was there, and we were all taking pictures and just having a really good time. Kevin Hart has come through. Will Ferrell, he was there a couple of weeks ago. He's a big Trojan too. So, we've just been having a lot of fun. And again, it's a great environment because you feel the joy from the players. Right, you want to be a part of that. It's infectious. So it's a good date night, and then that carries you over into the week. You feel good about things.
All right, they gotta get you in a commercial now because you selling it. You selling it.
You want to come to the game, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got
you. We will be there.
Yeah.
Got you.
But on a more somber note, this is obviously the Pac-12's last, grand finale. Y'all are doing y'all's part to hold it down, but like as a conference, y'all are going out with a bang. Like, just what are your thoughts on the conference kind of coming to a close?
I mean, it's disappointing. These rivalries that have been developed over years. What's going to happen? Maybe you play that team every 4 years, once in your career. But everything, life changes, right? It's a constant moving. And so, we have to go into this new situation just, as a new opportunity. But those travel miles, it's going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal. Wow.
Yeah, I better use some gas up.
Yeah, it's going to be brutal. But, you don't have a choice but to look forward to it, right? You relish the time that we had with the Pac-12 here on the West Coast. And now, we're going to be moving between East and West a lot more. So sounds like I need to save up a few more pennies so I can hit a few more road trips.
That's what they got to get high-speed rail or something in this country because those flight miles are not sustainable.
Right.
On the subject of change too, you've been in a couple different interesting dynamics where like massive changes come, right? When the W first started, you're involved with the Sparks organization as a GM. What was it like seeing essentially a league start from scratch and just the learning curve and change that had to occur in those first handful of years? And does it surprise you at all that the league is where it is now? Did you maybe think it'd be further along or less along? Like where would you say the W is relative to where you guys all thought it would be when this thing first got going?
It's so interesting, this dynamic of women's sports and basically having men covering women's sports in, back in, what was that, 96, 97? Yeah. And such harsh criticism. That's what I just didn't understand it. And to me, that was disappointing, to just constantly look for what was wrong with the league. Instead of saying this is something new, let's support it. Most of these men act like they didn't have mothers, wives, daughters. And so to hear today now where we're in this forum and we can't talk enough about women's basketball, right? It's everywhere. So, it was chaotic in the early years, trying to get it together, trying to figure it out. But there have been good people at the forefront to have the foresight and the patience and the pockets.
Most importantly, let's talk about it.
Yes, to allow the league to grow and develop. it takes time. Where the NBA was when they had they recognized their top 50, in the top 50 years financially, is nowhere where it is today.
Yes. 100%.
So anything takes time. And so I think the league is in an excellent position to they've been sustainable over these 25 plus years, and with the mindset and the vision to expand now, I think is a fantastic time to look at that. And the leaders that they know what to do. We can't go too fast.
Right.
We cannot go too fast.
To me, what is so fascinating is it feels like, just timeline to timeline, WNBA to NBA here, it feels like the W's kind of in its 80s era, like that, like it's Magic Bird, gold, like oncoming golden era. I always wonder, are the moneyed owners and the people that are injecting a lot of capital in the league, are they going to be able to drag the other owners kind of into the future that it should be in? But for me, as a 5 or 6 year old kid from Metro New York, the first player to me that really broke containment was Lisa. As the first player to dunk, playing for the LA Sparks. She's on SI for Kids, and like she's opposite Kobe on the covers. She's a character to play in backyard basketball. Like that was the first person, even more so maybe than DT and Sue, that I remember as a kid being this face of women's basketball. I mean, when that era for her kind of started, did you guys start to see a change internally about what the interest or the energy was once that era sort of began for the league?
Well, what that did was it expanded the game to non-traditional fans. Now there was this name and face and jersey that you can connect with. See, Cheryl didn't have that opportunity, right? Because of the time, some of the other players, Lynette Woodard, she didn't get that opportunity. But Lisa came at the right time where all of the marketing, all of those elements where not only girls, but now little boys knew who she was, and then they could connect to her that way. I want her jersey. I want her card. I wanted her book. I see her in the movie. So branding and marketing has played a huge role in the advancement of our game.
So many of us are familiar with the urban legend that is, confirmed because there's a score sheet, but that 101 point game from Lisa Leslie, that was for a lot of us, like when we started, like, okay, she's a real deal. When did you learn about Lisa Leslie, and what were your initial thoughts?
Let's see, when did well, because I was here, I knew who she was. I was working at the Forum at the time, so right next door is Morningside High School. So I was aware of her, and there's a few players that have scored 100. Linda Page, back in the was that late 70s when she scored 100 in high school. So and Lisa was tall. You can't miss her, right? You can't miss her.
Fair.
So hard.
And she had those vicious elbows too. So, but it was a pleasure watching her play. At SC, she also always played in the summer league for the St. O Classic, and I would have a draft, and I remember one guy traded basically his whole team so he could draft Lisa Leslie in the summer league. Walter Williams traded his whole team so he could get Lisa.
I think I might, yeah.
I mean, I don't blame him, but that's a crazy thing to like publicly do, is be like, no, all of you to this side.
And look, in that game, it said she scored 101 to 25. So it's 1 on 5 anyway. Might as well.
Right.
Did you know you were going to draft her? Like, was it just immediately like she?
No,
yeah.
no, not me. Right. The coach.
Wait, yeah, when you were in the W with the Sparks, like, did you know?
Oh yes,
Yeah.
for sure, 100%. That was like, I think. Matter of fact, at that point, she was assigned. It was kind of like the way we had it set up at that point. She let me just try to think. Was she drafted?
Was this like the Knicks and Ewing, where like they say the balls aren't weighted, but the balls were weighted to put her on the Sparks?
You get some conspiracy theories.
What happened at the beginning was each team was given basically 2 core players, and so I actually thought my 2 core players were going to be Lisa and Cynthia Cooper.
Oh, what could have been?
Right. But what happened was Swoops got pregnant,
Mm-hmm.
and they needed, and Cynthia, had a home in down in Texas, down in Houston, and so it kind of made sense for her then to go to that team. But initially, I thought it was going to be Lisa and Cynthia Cooper.
So we could have had a Lisa Leslie, Cynthia Cooper, LA Sparks instead of the Comets that we know of today.
Yes.
Like,
wow,
that's blowing my mind. I ain't gonna lie.
Yes. And I'm just gonna put this out here too. The year that the league, it was like the players were gonna go on strike. I had a deal set where Yolanda, what's her last name? Yes, from Sacramento. I had a trade set up for her to come to the Sparks.
Y'all was about to have a super, like the first ever super team.
There's going to be a trade between LA. Katie was involved in it, and it was one other player. But I had Griffith coming to LA and Katie Smith going with Brian Agler, wherever he was coaching right then. But the strike happened. It was a short time, and then everybody kind of backed out. I was like, "Oh man, oh man!"
I don't want to play the hypothetical game.
I've never shared that with anyone.
Y'all gotta know Cap Space exclusive.
That's exclusive.
I was gonna say, like, is there ever a little what would have happened to the league if that had happened? Because I'd imagine if you'd had that in LA, where like the women of Troy break containment normally, to have the Sparks do that, it feels like the league trajectory is legitimately different.
Hey, if I would have picked the right number in that lottery, I would have had $5 million. But hey, I'm still working. I'm smiling.
Look, I'm doing this podcast in a ski lodge before a 4:00 live shot. I feel you.
So I did have a question, just on a personal note, because we've seen like going from player to head coach or front office, like everybody ain't able. Like sometimes it's just not the gifts. Like it seems like you did have some good breaks, you had some gifts fall in your lap, but like you still have the foresight, because that's a nasty trade. So like, what about it made your transition from a player to a front office position to where you're like actually good at it? What do you think helped you along the way?
I don't know if I was that good at it. I actually did not like that job. I really did not like that job. I did not.
Wow. What didn't you like about it?
I hated cutting players.
Oh, okay.
It physically made me sick. Like physically made me sick.
Yeah.
And so, every situation you need to be with the right group of people. Every situation is different. But I did my best at the time, and I think I built a good team. They didn't have the success I wanted them to have while I was there, but like I said, some things take time, and they were able to win the championship with the players that I picked.
Let's talk about it. See that, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You was good at it, because when the fruit comes later, it still comes.
Where's my ring?
So like, and another question, like, did any part of you ever think like, let me give this league playing thing a try? Because like, we saw Nancy Lieberman pop out at the ripe old age of like 50 something, and give it a go. Like, did any part of you think, maybe let me suit up and get some reps in this league?
If I could have, trust and believe. Isn't that what the kids say? Trust and believe. I would have. My knee, I had major knee surgery when I was in college. I'm fresh off of a knee replacement in 2018. I had 2018. So my knee wasn't in any shape to play. I couldn't play anymore at that point.
Okay.
Yeah. But if I could have, I would have.
Where are you drafting yourself? Where would you draft yourself?
Like rank-wise?
Yeah, healthy knee and everything. Where are you drafting yourself?
Number one. What do you mean?
That's all right then.
Read that. Kidding me?
One of one.
You're from New York City. There is no other answer a New Yorker is given than I'm going one. So a couple more before we let you go. And really, man, I appreciate your time. I wish I didn't have a 4 o'clock because, man, we could sit on here for an hour and a half if we really wanted to.
Sure would.
Where do you see the game right now? Because I think a big conversation that we've had, especially in the last few weeks, is like this new generation of stars, and Caitlin being one of them, is this entryway for a lot of people into the game itself. And through it, people are learning about Lynette Woodard. They're learning about Pearl Moore. They're learning about these stars that have not necessarily had that type of marketability or respect from history up until this point. There's a whole back and forth about, is it right that this is happening this late for them, or is it just okay that it's happening at all? Where do you see the discussion in the game about how you introduce new fans to the people that are legends in this game and not make it a situation where we do the NBA discourse, ex-legend from the past era was playing against a bunch of nobodies? Like, where do you think the dialogue needs to be so that the original, like the OGs, can get the respect that is deserved here?
And I think it's just that. Just give them the respect. Acknowledge. Talk about it. They're not the ones running around with banners saying, "Hey, what about me?"
Yeah.
No one right? They love the game. They've done, and I'm gonna say we've done all that we could with what we had at the time, and are a hella happy of where the game is today. And for someone to show a former player the respect to say, "Hey, this player, in their time dominated." That's all a player wants to know and hear. Have the conversation, discuss it. It's you're battling errors. Okay, this happened in this era, that happened. It's all good.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna give you a get to know real quick. Who is, in your mind, an overlooked women's hoops legend that you feel should be more recognized in the game?
I mean, other than myself. Other than myself.
Don't worry, you're about to make waves with this interview. I can tell.
Yeah.
I would say one player is Paula McGee. Paula McGee, she didn't, and she didn't make the 1984 Olympic team. She should have, but they didn't want to have 3 USC players on that team.
Interesting.
And so, it was a different time, but Paula McGee was bad. 6'3", off the glass, jump rope, put it on the floor, take you to the hole, play defense on you. There was nobody better. Her and Janice Lawrence used to battle, but Paula McGee was awesome. Pam McGee's name is more in the forefront because she did make that Olympic team. She did play in the WNBA. Her son is an NBA player. But Paula McGee, she was right there. Definitely.
And we like to have those proactive conversations where, we can talk about legends before it gets too, like, well, wait, no, we got to go back and talk,
That's
So
the big reason we started this thing.
exactly. Having, mentioned yourself as a legend. Before somebody breaks a record, who do you see your game in a player today?
Wow. These players are something else. The guards today, I wasn't near the shooter or the scorer that these guards are today. I love these kids. There's a kid that plays, I think she plays for Texas. The
Rory
guard,
Harmon?
Is it Rory Harmon? Madison Booker? Rory Harmon?
Yeah, the point guard.
Yeah.
Rory Harmon?
She can go. I really like her game. And I am still the all-time leader in assists at USC. I mean, I'm just saying,
Exactly.
I'm just putting it out there.
Exactly.
I think you're gonna hold that for a bit.
Yeah.
So I mean, the way the guard play has evolved is amazing to me. It really is. It's not just a player that can make assists. You got to have a 3-point jump shot. You have to be able to go to the hole. You have to D up. And this whole idea of a two-way player, I think that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Really?
Isn't basketball? What, you sub out? Like, you play offense, okay, sub, now the defender comes in. Aren't we all supposed to be a two-way player?
So it shouldn't be no distinction.
I'm just going to say, that's the dumbest shit I ever heard of, really. I'm serious. It is. The two-way player.
Now I kind of want to hear some people describe themselves as a one-way player. Just, keep it a bean. You're not getting back on defense.
Hey, coach, I only play. I'm a one-way player.
I'm a one-way. A 4-star one-way.
The hell is that? I don't know.
I like that though. For like when we grade recruits, it's like you're a 5-star player, you're a 4-star offensive player,
Yeah.
you're a 1-star defensive player, so you make a 5-star player.
Exactly.
Oh man! So the last question I got for you before we let you go here, to see what USC women's basketball is now becoming, this resurgence that we have gotten. How gratifying is it for you that there is a future here that is in good hands, and that there's a lot of programs where, like look at a Delta State, a Louisiana Tech, like those OG programs in the game that we don't see them that way anymore because for one reason or another, there's kind of a lost to history component with them. How does it feel to know that like the history here is safe? And your legacies are safe and safeguarded by a program that clearly cares and a coach that wants to keep the bridge and the players that want to honor the history by going out there and balling with the same colors and the same logo.
You can care all you want, but if they're not pouring money into the program, it's not going to matter. It's not. It's just not. It comes down to the dollars and cents. And USC has, with Lindsay at the helm, they have really stepped up to the table and said, we believe in it. And this is how we're going to show you we believe in it. So she has demanded that. She has demanded that respect. And with that, we're now able to, present a program that is whole. We're not a fractured program. When recruits come, we got you, right? We're going to do our best to make sure you feel supported, safe, understood, and have an opportunity to develop your game. We have a guard coming from New York, I think from Long Island. I can't wait to wrap my arms around her. I can't wait. And so we're going to continue, the alumni, we are going to continue to support Lindsay's vision. It's one language. We're not coaches, but we're here to support. We're here to encourage. I sent my girl Mackenzie a text before the game. just sending her love. That's my mentee. I'm sending her love, encouragement, inspiration. They're not by themselves, but on the court, we expect all they have. And, it's a joy to watch them, and it's a joy to be part of this resurgence of our program. And it's in great hands. I couldn't be more. I'm proud. I'm proud.
I can feel that from here.
I was gonna say, man, you're making me want to DM Lindsay. Like, do you have space for a 5'7", 29-year-old white guy to come play some defense?
You gotta give me the fight on sign. Come on, give me a fight on. Give me the fight on sign right here. There we go. Come on.
I can see. Hold on, because I'm the other USC.
Come on now. Give me that fight on.
What I heard from you is
for Lindsay. This is for Lindsay because we both are from Scarsdale. I'm gonna give Lindsay that.
The main point I got from you is, if y'all care, close your mouths and open your wallets. That's what I heard.
That's a good way of putting it.
Yes, and as the alum, we opened our wallets. We bought our tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Buy tickets. We believe in them. We want to be there. So
About it.
And we get to have nice conversations with the referees.
Oh, yeah.
I'm sure that as well these days.
Encourage them to tell them, how they're doing a fantastic job.
Help them out. Hey, you missed that one, right?
Violet Palmer, Violet assigns for pictures. Thank you, Violet, for those fantastic credentials we always have. We love them.
Amazing. Don't we always? Well, Rhonda, we appreciate your time. I am counting this among one of the best ones we have ever done, and I'm sure this will not be the last you will hear of us. We'll be around to bug you again, I can promise you.
Right.
Hopefully in person, because you saw, like I said, I want a USC matchup. I want a USC at Notre Dame. I want to come see y'all on the road. I want to see y'all at home. Like, I'm with it.
You get here.
I'm with it. I'm gonna find you.
Well, that's all the time we got on this one. Yep, be sure to subscribe, nocapspace.substack.com. Find us, nocapspacewbb, everywhere else. Subscribe on YouTube, the artist formerly known as Twitter, Facebook, etc., wherever you go. And that's all the time we got. We'll see you all very, very soon.